there always someone in a relationship who loves more than the other?
Yes. Yes, there, I absolutely agree. No, I absolutely think it is. And I think in healthy relationships, it tends to be the man more than the woman. And the reason I think that is because men are so visually driven that I think that they have to love the woman so much that as we get to a certain point in our lives and we change physically, like I think they have to love the woman more. And I think that women, and you can definitely tell me if you differ in this, but like I think women, we tend to be more emotionally driven, that it can lead to more emotional moments. And a man, if he's not used to that, or if he doesn't care about that woman, he won't want to put up with that. So I think he has to love the woman more.
I love this. I love this opinion because I don't disagree. Like,
Oh,
it,
great.
yeah, I don't like.
Yeah.
The only part that I disagree on is, and it's not even a disagreement. It's I think that it tends to be the woman more,
It
and
does.
I think that's where it ends up sometimes muddying the waters of uh, the potential of that relationship.
Agreed.
Because
Yes.
yes, I think
But why do you
devotion.
think that? Do you think it's because as women we're like taught growing up that there's this love story that we're trying to achieve and the perfect man will just fill out that puzzle and like now life will be perfect. Uh,
I think it's a lot. I think it's that. I think it's fairy tales. I think it's the patriarchy in general of like women technically being second class citizens for so long. It was like you were supposed to do everything for your man, right?
yeah.
Not that that's the same now, but I think that that was so embedded in us for so long, and women in general and women's history, that a lot of women, as they pass down generations, you'll hear even grandmas still to this day, like, you cook your husband dinner when he gets home. Right? And you're like, oh. Yeah, no, I think that's a whole thing. I think women, not only with our maternal instincts, whether you're a mother or not, I think we are taught to take care of others. And I think that men are taught to provide for others. So it's an interesting dynamic. I think there's the like caretaker and then the provider. And it typically doesn't mix. And it typically doesn't switch either, which I love that concept. I love gender roles being switched in relationships. I'm so down for that. And like, that's a whole other discussion. But go ahead.
Reminded me of a meme I saw my friend post today where it said when we were younger, women were told, "Hey, women mature faster than men. Like, just be aware of that and know like you're gonna be like faster." She's like, and but the opposite was like a man was never told they mature faster than you. Watch them and let them guide you in how you should grow. I was like, oh my god.
Yes, because it's true. Like, how many times have we been taught or told, like, yeah, he's just catching up.
Yeah.
I've gotten that so many times, not only in relationships, friendships,
Yeah.
professionally.
Yep.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
Huh? And I think so. Yeah. Back to your original question. I think totally. I think women tend to lean more towards it, but in successful relationships that I've witnessed, it's when a man is truly devoted to a woman, because I think devotion for men does not come as easily as devotion for women.
I agree.
So if a man is like devoted, he is in it to win it. Like he is like, you are my sun, my moon, and my stars. Like it doesn't need to be obsessive to any point. But I think when it goes past that physical attraction and what they can give you, right? Like I love the phrase like, how many men are respectful of women they're not attracted to, right? And it's like, what? When you like put that into perspective, you're like, you know, and it's not always, but like, you know, sometimes when you're like, oh, men are way more, you know, diligent or respectful towards women they're attracted to because they're trying to get something. It's a transactional, right? They're trying to be like, oh, if I give you this and I give you the world and stuff like that, you give me your body, right? Or what have you. It doesn't even have to be that.
Most likely.
But but if you're, you know, if you're attracted to someone, if you're like really engaged with someone, like that, a man to a woman. Again, we're talking about a lot of heterosexual relationships, so I
Very
apologize.
true, yes.
This is totally different thing. We're
Yeah.
just speaking from experience. Unfortunately, we are both heterosexuals, but but we will
Unfortunately.
talk
I
about
would
that.
love to be a lesbian, honestly, because I feel like a woman could take care of me.
Listen, we've had this conversation many times, and not to diminish the struggles of the LGBTQIA plus community at all. But yeah, I've talked to my best friend who identifies as lesbian, and you know, I've been like, she's like, come to the dark side. I'm like, it's fucking so so yeah, it's tempting. It's
Yeah.
tempting. But anyway,
Well, a couple more dates. I'm like, right.
we're on the cusp. But yeah, so I think it's interesting as far as that devotion. Like, I think if a man can see or not see past it, but if the attraction is past just physical, just transactionary, you know, like, oh, I'm going to get this from you. I'm going to get a wife that takes care of my house. I'm going to get the wife that gives me the kids. If it's truly just a partnership, like, I see you, I love you, you complete me in different ways because you challenge me and you bring me to another level. That's when it's the magic, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I think that's really where it kind of like you said, it's the magic, and it's kind of almost sad in a way, because like I would love to equally love my partner as much as they love me. Like I would love for it to be so 50-50, and we're both into each other, and we're both like, and of course like those partnerships are still like that woman still loves that man, but I would love the passion to be equal, but
Oh yeah.
it feels like it has to be more the other way.
Yeah. And I honestly, obviously, yeah, we want equal love across the board. And I don't think this is like, when I'm saying women in these relationships are not as loving as their male counterparts or their female counterparts, what have you. I think it's hard because, yeah, it feels like, oh, it's lopsided, right? But it's like, it has to be like here, you know, like
Yes.
it has to be, it's not like he loves her so much and she's like, you're all right, I could dump your ass in a minute. Like, it's not that. It's still like, I love you so much. But I think, yeah, in relationships, it just makes sense that there's going to always be a partner that kind of loves a little more.
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry to break it to you. I don't know. If you guys feel differently, like, leave a comment. Like, I'd love to
explain why, though. Give us the details.
Like, genuinely, I'd love to hear the counter argument.
Yeah, I would too.
Because yeah, and now it's hard when you go introspective and you're like, oh, my last relationships, who loved who more, you know, and it's like you go into that. That's, I feel like, unhealthy. But I do think that
I will honestly say, I think that both of my major adult relationships, I do feel like they loved me more. Mm-hmm. And I do feel like I wish I could have like upped my game and like been as loving as like they were and given as much as they did. But I don't know why I was missing that. Yeah.
It's hard. I think this is a little anecdote, and I'm sorry, I'll try to keep it brief. But I remember when I first started dating, the longest relationship that I've had, because I had gone from a world of just like, I'll date who I want when I want, and then we were finally boyfriend and girlfriend, and I was really getting used to that dynamic. And I remember one day we were talking about something, and I joked, and I was like, well, if this ended, I'd be fine. And he was like, what? Yeah, and I was like, it was really early on, but it was still such a shitty thing to say. Like, I apologize. But like, it's also like, I think back to it, and I genuinely felt that way. Like, it wasn't like trying to like zinger hit, make feel,
honestly.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, I'd be fine. And I think I overestimated. I probably wouldn't have been like peachy keen right away. I probably would have been like, well, that fucking sucks, but then I would have moved on. And that's just my personality type. But at that time, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'd be fine. And he called me out on it. He was like, what the fuck are you saying? And I was like, I think that I'd be fine. He was like, what do you mean by that? Like, how could you say that? Like, we just started dating. And I was like, but like, now looking back, I think at the end of it, I ultimately loved him more, which is interesting. And then that's why I think towards the end, I was like, I'm fucking done with this. Yeah, but I think it's interesting because I at least at that point, for sure. And not that he loved me more necessarily, but I just felt so secure in myself that I was like, if this ends, cool. I'm glad for the ride.
I'm
Yeah.
glad for the ride. I love that.